for he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is the servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. The old man sits, hunched forwards on a collapsed tree trunk, his hand against the blackened background. The land is scorched. Charred trees lean on one another for support. Only remnants of the fire remain. Small smoking piles of debris cough smoke into the air, occasionally spitting embers across the blackened soil. Now another ember flitters across the ground. The old man's cigarette butt follows. He coughs and empties it lands on a burnt torso, running down past the navel to the floor. With a groan, the Elster rises from his perch. He rubs his temples slowly, and then grabs his weapon. Stepping a few yards forwards, he finds himself at the edge of a rocky outcrop. The jungle stretches off in front of him, a mass of darkened vegetation. The man draws breath heavily. Only it was green and lush. Now it was ruined, burnt away by the savage fire. In the early morning light, patches of forest still glow, burning lazily. He looks through the scope of his rifle, peering down into the jungle. The rifle is moved left and right, scanning the area. He spots something, movement in the trees. He focuses, staring hard down the sight. A little burst of breath leaves him suddenly. The treetops are swaying. The birds fly from the canopy, making a dark cloud above the leaves. Other animals call out in alarm. Their yelps can be heard even from the man's vantage point. Now a rumbling begins. Reverberance runs through the earth. The man takes the sight from his eye. All around him, stones fidget and plants sway. A final high-pitched animal call echoes through the air. He slings his rifle over his shoulder and departs. A giant orange disk hangs in the sky. Radiation lines shimmer about it. The sky sits heavy on the land, bold and blue atop a charred brown plain. Out in the air, butterflies of some strange design, swarming around a single bush that sprouts from the dry soil. Its tiny purple flowers attract the butterflies. They gorge themselves on the sweet nectar. Wings slowly opening and closing. A large member of the swarm sits on a low branch. Large wings beat rhythmically. What printed on them? Wide, unblinking eyes with a band of red around the iris. The butterfly slows its flapping. A breeze jostles the bush, brushing the insect off its branch. Its body slowly falls. Wings and abdomen a mess of colours. Now it lies on the earth, one wing cocked up at an angle. Its fellows flutter above it. Oblivious, thousands of the beasts circle, never ceasing, constantly revolving around the plant. Disembodied hands reach out. They move towards the butterfly, cupping under the stricken insect. Covering the bug, the hands form a ball around the little beast. They start to tremble. Veins bulge, running up the arms like tributaries. Blue, a light can be seen in the gaps between the fingers. It grows brighter into a blinding brilliance. This light makes the hands glow with a pink hue, as if the skin were translucent. Veins and arteries clearly visible through the skin. They open slowly. A perfect white butterfly sits proudly on the palms, its wings twitching, then opening fully. No wild animal eye. The resurrected insect is reborn a yellowish white, with pearlescent blue dots. Its wings beat hard, returning it to the air, rising high, circling. The other creatures swarm down towards it, creating a cloud of tiny flapping wings, racing round and round at maddening speed. The group hang there in mid-air. Then they collapse inwards, emitting an explosion of white light. Ezra awakes to the sound of birds singing their morning chorus. Insects busy themselves in the morning sun, humming all the while. His companions sit at a small fire. Malika turned away from the other two, who chatter endlessly. Ezra looks about him. No food, no water, no coffee. He goes to the fire, stomach rumbling. "Good morning, guys. How you doing?" he says. The two men stare at him. "What the fuck? What you saying, man? You still asleep or something? We got a skeet. Move our asses," Kofwimbi says. "Well, it's light now," Ezra responds. "We could just walk to the nearest road, although that man did say it was taken out by the river, but he didn't seem like a trustworthy sort. He may have been lying. I wonder if... Right, I'll ask the girl which way to go." He turns and questions her on the local area. Her response angers him. He shouts at her in her native language, spit gathering at the corners of his mouth. Ezra stops him, asking why he's angry. "She won't leave," Kofwimbi yells. "She wants to stay and find that woman, that old bitch. And she says it takes 2 days to walk to the nearest township." The group remains silent for nearly 10 seconds before Ezra speaks. "We should try and find that woman, if there's a chance she's alive, right?" "Fuck that, there's no way. I'm leaving as soon as. Just gotta decide which direction to fuck off in," Kay replies. "Well, I'm going with her. She can't go alone. Can you tell her?" The men shout at him, brows furrowing, bad breath striking at his nose. But the little man is resilient. He is sure. He has to help the damsel, quite obvious from her body language alone. Once the men have given up, Kay tells Malika of Ezra's decision. She gets up and strides off into the bushes, without saying a word more. Ezra follows. Then he turns back and hugs each of the men. Finally he turns and runs after Malika, leaving the men feeling slightly awkward. Up high, above the vast jungle, run the limbs of the great mountain. Like cliffs, they rise from the plains, soliths that protrude from the lush greenery, their flanks daubed in stone formations and random patches of scrub. Armed men stamp their feet as they trek from the peaks down towards the lowlands. Grunting and spitting, they hold their rifles across their chests. Large bags perch on their backs. To one side of the men, on a rock that juts out over the cliff, stands their leader. He smokes a cigarette with fervour, sucking down the fumes like a light. Far below, a cloud of smoke reaches up into the sky. The forest has huge scorch marks across it, signs of the blaze's ravenous nature. "So I'm a goddamn firefighter now?" he says. The man hops from his rock and joins his comrades, patting one of them on the back as he passes. He flicks away his cigarette, then lights another. With it jammed between his lips, he lifts his bag. The forest is still. Sunlight peeks through the gaps in the canopy, casting columns of light down into the moody depths of the jungle. They highlight all the insects and pollen in the air, spiraling in dizzy circles. Water droplets gather on the leaves, then plummet to the floor as a cool breeze blows. A large bird appears, darting through our quiet part of the jungle, then beating its wings twice. Its calls become faint as it flies away. The forest returns to its lethargy. The insects hum as they gambol in the air. Water falls in tiny tears to the earth, patting on the flora. the bird's cry hanging in the air, the truest sounds of the jungle. Now the hum grows. The insects whine, their usual monotonous sound now piercing and oscillating between high pitches. What was slow, meandering, agitated lurching. Some tumble from the air completely. Spiders and other tree dwellers also fall. Soon the patter of insects falling from the canopy blocks out the incessant humming. But another sound is coming. Screeching, howling, deep guttural roars. A deer-like creature sprints into the clearing. Then two more follow. Their speckled hide flatters the shafts of light. Fast hooves kick up dust. They're quickly followed by more of their ilk. Above, random birds course through the canopy. They scream out their warning calls. A chorus of yelps and jeers. The animals are surging. From deep in the forest they come, filling our quiet clearing with raging fauna, all of whom relieve themselves of a terrified cry. The jungle is loud with this behavior, feet and the cries of woe, a deep bass drones. The earth itself groans in pain. A howl echoes through the forest. Above the other creatures, it is the call of the hunter. Bearing no fear, loud and true, it's quickly joined by others. They converge in an undulating, continuous roar. Louder and louder it grows. The animals scatter, changing direction suddenly, audible over the call of the pack. The soil moves, pebbles dance over it. Vibration from the earth rocks the trees, sending seed pods and leaf litter to the ground. A large clump of foliage trembles. An undead bursts from within. It grapples a deer creature. Legs and arms attack together. A hoof jabs out at the predator. Eyes roll into the back of the deer's skull as it tries to see the attacker, breathing hard. The human creature bites down on the snout. Arms wrap around the torso of the beast. It tumbles into the dirt. A cloud of dust rises up around the battling pair. Now the undead latches its jaw onto the jugular. Blood leaks through the flesh. Skin and hide tear untidily down the throat of the creature. The myriad of greens and browns that colour the earth turn to red. Dark crimson plasma spills onto the neck of the tortured beast. The pair remain there, attacker working to keep its prey subdued, prey kicking and gargling, trying to breathe with its throat torn out. Until the deer loses its strength, muscles spasm, it convulses, but the energy is sapping away, blood loss making all action strained. The body shudders. Soon the beast becomes still. Its eyes stare up into the canopy. Suddenly, the attacker, this furious scourge, leaps up. It senses something. The howling. The howling is getting closer. The undead howls in response. Its human lungs and larynx burn as an animal roar erupts from its bloodied maw. He waits for the pack's reply, head tilted, then sprints away on all fours toward the call. The clearing sinks into silence again. Still, only the broken and bloody deer creature can be seen moving. The last breath has left its lungs. The muscles still contract and relax, cells reacting to the death of the body. From far above the carcass, a cigarette butt falls, its tip burning bright. The cigarette is followed closely by a rifle, which lands in a bush. The rifle is followed by the old man, who also falls into the bush. A yelp of pain emits. The eldster tumbles from it, grasping at his ankle. He swears under his breath, bringing his hand up to his mouth to muffle the anguished sounds. He sits and rocks backward and forward. Around him the howls of the undead echo, and under his body the earth trembles. Vibrations shake everything. The old man rises up, gripping his gun. He limps over to the carcass, pulling a foot-long hunting knife out of nowhere. The leg of the beast is lifted, then the knife is buried. He makes quick work of the slaughter, cutting the leg off, skinning it, and cleaning the blade, all in under a minute. With the rifle slung over his shoulder and meat in hand, he returns to his tree, pushing the rifle onto a low branch, then clambering up himself. The man climbs higher and higher until he feels safe. Once he's happy with his proximity to the ground, he rests, pulse gradually decreasing, breathing returning to normal. Up against the tree trunk, the leg of the deer lies across his lap. Blood congeals on his formerly beige trousers. He looks down at his handiwork, then he frowns. He has no fire, no ability to cook. He pats at his pockets, searching for his cigarettes and a source of fire. Nothing can be found. He looks around quickly, no sign of the packet. He peers down past his feet to the forest floor. A small square of metal. The lighter had slipped away from him. The impulse to recover it is dampened somewhat by the encroaching howls of the undead. A short chuckle bubbles up from within him. He spits. A grin lifts the corners of his mouth. The leg of meat is brought up to his face. He bites into it. Ezra and Malika wander slowly along a dry, stony creek that runs down the center of a great river surged through here not a day before. A tiny trickle is all that remains. Leaves and broken branches litter the place. The trees themselves are contorted, limbs stripped away, leaving short, sharp stakes in their place. They trek in the wake of the undead, the scorched earth behind their warpath. Malika stops. Ezra, who is watching a large butterfly, tumbles into her in her vibrant native tongue. "Sorry, I was away with the fairies," he mumbles. Malika looks at him with a cold gaze. She stares fully into his face. Then she spots something. The girl walks past Ezra to the river bed and pulls a dead fish from the mud. Flies leap from it. The dirt falls away, revealing the silver scales that hide beneath. Kicks the fish into a small puddle, rinsing most of the detritus off her meal. Now the scales glint in the sun. Ezra smiles. He has a lighter in the palm of his hand. He offers it to the girl, who replies with a puzzled look. Soon a fire burns in amongst the stones of the creek. Ezra dances around it, hopping from foot to foot as he pokes at the embers, bringing new The fish lies above the fire on a small spit. Its scales curl and brown slightly. Bubbles pop on the skin, sending oil into the flames. Some of it spits onto Ezra's outstretched wrist. He clamps a hand down on it. "Oh, oh! Sugar, sugar, sugar! Wowee!" he yells. Malika giggles at his strange foreign words and the funny look on his face. He turns to her, smiling at the laughter. "It's not that funny. It hurts. You're like some sort of sado. Man, with all the stuff that's happening, I decide to go walking with a crazy girl. You're a strange one. A funny little man. When was the last time a man cooked for me? I don't know." Malika says, "Look!" She points at the fish. Ezra turns just in time to stop the meal setting fire. The spit is removed, the fish placed neatly on a wide green leaf. It's placed in front of Malika. Ezra looks on enthusiastically. She eats a piece, then some more. This makes the little accountant happy. He relaxes on a sun-warmed boulder, watching her feed. They sit there together. The security guards, Muso and Kafwimbi, jog together. Between trees and over roots, legs working hard to carry them through the brush. They argue endlessly, neither waiting for the other to end his sentence before they interject themselves. Then Kay stops, putting his arm across Muso's path. Do you smell that? Fire and meat. There's smoke over there. I'm going. I'm so fucking hungry. Kay starts towards the area he thinks hails the meat. Then Muso shouts to him. We're supposed to be getting out of here, Kay. They argue again, but Kay shouts louder. Muso is hungry himself. He gives in easily, causing both men to walk in the direction of the smoke, sniffing, scenting the air for clues as to where the meal is, ambling along in search now. The forest gets smokier. It gets more and more smoky until the men can't tell which way is which. The realization dawns on them, but they keep going, arguing all the while. Soon the forest is thick with fumes. The men can see the sun and the canopy above, but not much else. They cough and wheeze as the rich smoke fills their soft pink lungs. What the fuck do we do? Let's go back that way. Back the way we came, Muso replies. I can't tell where we came from, man. I'm running it. I don't like this shit. Too much smoke, fella. Way too much smoke. What the fuck is that? Kay sees a strange shape, charred by the fire. An animal, indistinguishable now, lies dead in their path. Like a warning sign, it tells them they're in. Two men turn and run. No more angry words, just laboured breathing. The forest doesn't clear. Their route doesn't bring them to safety. A dull yellow sun peers down at them through the haze, but their path remains hidden. After a few hundred meters they slow. Wait! Stop! Muso grunts. This is wrong. We're being idiots. Let me catch my breath. Run, fatty. You'll be breakfast if you wait around here. That's what I'm saying, Kay. Listen, man. We've been running and we're still lost. We should go that way, Muso says, pointing to their left. They start again, jogging now, eyes all the while peering into the murk. Their footfalls the only sound in this terrifying twilight. Soon enough Muso stops again. It's like we're surrounded. Or the fire is moving. It's killing my eyes. What do you reckon, Kay? Muso spins around. Kay? His friend cannot be seen. He bellows, calling for his comrade. Bellows lead to screaming, the fear affecting him greatly. Chemicals course through his arteries. The heart in his chest flutters. No answer is heard. Muso, hands on head, sweat pouring down his brow, winces. His friend is gone. Fuck, man. Fuck, he mutters. Just go. He's gone. You've got to go. The large man tries to reassure himself. With newfound energy, the stamina of the scared, he runs. Not thinking, just running. Then he hears the calls of the wild. Like his mind wasn't busy enough, he can hear an animal cry out. A long, haunting howl. Others join in. A group of calls merge together like wolves or wild dogs jeering before the kill. He looks over his shoulder. Nothing there. His pace increases, the jog exploding into a sprint. Brett hails. Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! The forest seems infinite, without reference. Muso coughs, more violently than before. The hoots and jeers chase him, getting louder, closer. The man keeps checking behind him. Nothing there, just swirling smoke. In front of him, a tree limb stretches out at head height. Musso turns in time. Without the capacity to stop, his face collides with the branch, making the percussive sound of a woodblock. The guard's torso crashes into the rough bark. His body slumps to the ground. Unconscious now, darkness besets his mind. The forest disappears from view. Only sound resonates with his failing sensory organs. A heckling sound, a savage laughing. In the glow, the thick smoke, glowing red eyes materialize. The hunters have arrived. Kay is running. He is an athletic man, now using his full physical potential. Air tearing through his nostrils, heart beating like a war drum before battle. The fog-like smoke thick around him, charred earth underfoot, soot hanging in the air, coating his tongue and throat. The carcasses of unknown animals smoulder at his feet. He inhales as he runs past them, tasting the smell of cooking meat that fascinated him earlier. Now the bouquet turns his stomach. He slows, feeling the nausea take him. A mouthful of oaky phlegm cascades from his mouth. No food meant no vomit, just painful heaving. He stumbles on, then he hears it. The howling. The pack's hunting call. Kafwimbi, eyes open wide now, shrugs off his nausea and starts to sprint again.